April, and yes, I am recording from my bathroom. You know what? It has the best lighting and it's really the perfect recording space for me right now. This is hopefully the first of many videos to come, and this topic in particular is really fitting because it's all about the makings of me, who I am and where I come from, and also kind of a great way to introduce myself to you. So this video is all about genealogy and my personal family history. I recently took the Ancestry DNA test, and the whole process has been really exciting and fascinating for me. During the waiting process, I have to admit I was kind of obsessed. I was watching YouTube videos, looking at everyone's results and how they vary. It's just really interesting. But with that said, I do want to keep this video pretty short and to the point because I know it's all about the results. But before I get into that, I do want to give like a little brief overview of my family history and kind of what I know about where I come from. And if you're not interested in that, feel free to kind of just fast forward to the results. You know, I don't care. Okay, digging into some of my family history, the majority of my family is from the South. Both my mother and my father's family, they're predominantly from both Georgia and Alabama. I've been only able to trace like my family history as far as maybe 2 to 3 generations, and that's only based off of, you know, what my parents remember and what you know, like my uncle and stuff remembered. So my parents have been married for about 43 years now. They both are from Georgia. My mother, she is originally from a little small town called Madison, Georgia, and my dad, he's originally from Atlanta. So both sets of my grandparents are deceased, but my grandparents on my mother's side, they died when I was really young, so I don't know a whole lot about them. I do know that they're both originally from Madison, Georgia. They lived on a farm, so my mother grew up on a farm. My grandmother, she was a housewife, and my grandfather, he was a mechanic, and they also had 5 children together. So on my dad's side, my grandparents were married for about 70 years. They had 2 children together. My grandmother, she was a housewife as well. And my grandfather, he was a retired World War II and Korean War veteran. He would always tell me stories about him being in Korea, so that was always interesting to hear. So also on my dad's side, I was only able to trace back up to my great-great-grandparents. Of course, I don't know anything about them, but I do have a few photos. So my great-grandparents on my grandmother's side, and also my great-great-grandparents. So my grandfather's side, his parents died when he was really young, and he was adopted by family members. I believe his grandmother and his aunts actually raised him, and so we don't know a lot about his birth mother, so that was always a big question for me because I wanted to learn more about her history. But so we only knew about his father, but both of his parents, they died when he was really young. Alright, so on to the results. I wanted to open these live while I did the video, but I just couldn't because I was way too excited. So I already opened these results. I know what they are. So my initial expectations based on watching other videos and based on what I already knew, I already expected to have a high and significant amount of African DNA, and I also expected to have some European DNA. Also, there was kind of a part of me that wondered if there would be a percentage in there that was from maybe another region, because just based on things my family have said and things people have said to me all of my life, like, oh wow, where are you from and all of that. Believe it or not, I've gotten that all of my life. I don't get it either, but hey. So I knew that my African results would most likely be from West Africa. Being an African American, that's just part of the history of the slave trade. Most slaves were taken from West Africa. Also, because of that history, I already figured that I probably would have a small amount of European DNA. and also based off of other videos I've watched. You know, a lot of African Americans did have a percentage like 20% and below, but I knew that that would be there as well. Alright, so on to my results. According to Ancestry DNA, and I'm just looking at a piece of paper. I have everything printed off here, but according to Ancestry DNA, 100% of my DNA is split between Africa and Europe. That's it. Africa and Europe, no other regions. I got 0% in all other regions. And like I said, honestly, this isn't surprising to me because I expected Africa and Europe to be there. I wondered if there would be other regions, but there weren't. So like when you think about 60 and 40%, it's almost half. I mean, not really, but it is a significant amount in both areas. So I'm just going to be honest, I really am surprised at my African percentage being much lower than I thought it would be, and my European percentage being much higher, which kind of has me curious about what size of the family that comes from, because as I know it, everyone's black. You know, I go to the family reunions, everyone's black. You know, that may sound silly, but you know, I know that's not how DNA works, but it's just, it's amazing to me, and I just really want to learn more about it. Okay, so now I'm just gonna basically read off all of my percentages. So with my African percentage, I got 64% Africa, and within those percentages, my trace regions, I got Ivory Coast, Ghana at 22%, and Cameroon, Congo at 20%. And those are my highest other trace regions in Africa. Some of my other trace regions were Nigeria at 8%, Benin, Togo at 7%, and then we had the low confidence regions, which was only a small percentage that they picked up. Senegal was 5%, African Southeastern Bantu 1%, and then African South Central hunter-gatherers, that was 1%. They also tested 2 other trace regions, but I had 0% there, which was Africa North and Mali. Alright, so on to my European percentage. Of that 36%, the breakdown is Great Britain being the highest trace region at 18%, Ireland 7%, and then we had the low confidence regions, Europe West 3%, Scandinavia 3%, Italy, Greece 2%, Europe East less than 1%, Iberian Peninsula less than 1%, European Jewish less than 1%, and that's everything. That's the makings of April. So I guess the biggest question here is, how do I feel? How does knowing all of this make me feel after seeing the results? And honestly, I feel no different. It was really exciting to learn more about my family history, but I don't feel any different. You know, I've always been black, so I've always identified as African American, so I'm always gonna be black. I love being black, and I also love every piece of me that makes me me, including everything, you know, that was included in the results. So that's how I feel. Nothing's going to change. Okay. So if anything, I would say that it's reawakened my desire that was already there to learn more about my family history and my ancestors. I would love to travel to some of these countries and just experience the culture. Like, that would be so fascinating to me, and I definitely plan to do that. Alright, so that concludes my very first video, and I just want to thank you so much for watching and bearing with me. If you did enjoy this, please don't hesitate to rate, comment, and subscribe, and hopefully I'll talk to you later. Bye!